every second, every minute, man, I swear that
She can get it, say hands up high now, put me in the mood. Dark room perfume, go. Recognize your fragrance, hold up, you ain't ever gotta say high maintenance, everybody else basic, poetic justice. If I told you that a flower bloomed in the dark room, would you trust it? She wanna go and party, anytime, you can get it, know just what you want, poetic justice. Put it in a song. I really hope you play this, cause oh girl, you test my patience with all these seductive. I was trying to put you on game, put you on a play, take you to mama in the motherland. I can do it, vacation, save relations, I can tell, but I can never right my wrongs.
Every time I write these words,
They become taboo, and right before you go blind. P.S. Mother. Anytime, you can get it. Poetic justice. Put it in a song, alright. Hello everyone, welcome to another another installment of my phase of having another retrospective, I guess, old re-listen. Cause last time, I mean, I kind of recorded it earlier. It was Drake, you know. Drake's, if you're reading this, it's too late, and yes, it's 10 years. 10 years have gone by since it's came out, and I'd say you can count it as a classic. Might be too early, who knows, but 10 years is a long time. Not to be all timely or whatnot, but next we're looking at another album that released in 2015 by his little poetic justice partner, KendrickLamar. That album being the 2015 album To Pimp a Butterfly. What hasn't been said about To Pimp a Butterfly that already hasn't been said? It has literally been touted as one of the best albums ever. Forget 2015. It's apparently one of the best albums ever. And I am here to re-listen to it and maybe answer that question. That's a complete lie. I will not be answering that question because the answer to that question is completely loaded for my expertise on music. I may have listened to a lot of albums, but you know, I can only judge on what I've listened so far, and what I've listened to so far is, like, I feel like it's a fraction to what, like, a lot of music expertise listen to. Or maybe I might just be selling myself short. Maybe a lot of people who call this the greatest album ever are just like me. And you know what? As someone who has listened to this album a lot of times, heard Alright and I so many times, and Wesley's Theory, I can't argue with the fact that people think this might be one of the best albums of all time. It is packed with lyrical messages that are possibly even too much for my small brain to handle. And like, I mean, it's not like I can relate to most of the things Kendrick says, because I am a Asian dude who did not have the roughest of upbringings, but yeah. So I don't know. I guess disclaimer here: you aren't gonna hear me breaking everything down little by little to understand all of the commentary around this. Of course, I'm gonna pull up Genius when I feel like it, just to get more context on a song that we might need to talk about. But I'm not here to give an hour-long video essay on this album, because God knows there are already a lot of those, and will explain the lyrical messages way better than I possibly can. I'm just here to give an hour re-listen. I'm here to re-listen to this album, see how good the music is 10 years later, maybe get more lyrical messages and meanings out of it than I first listened to, like, years ago. And yeah, just see where things are nowadays. You know, because KendrickLamar he's had a lot of eventful things happen in these past 10 years, to say the least. I'm trying to be very simplified in my talk about this. Yeah, KendrickLamar, a very popular guy. To Pimp a Butterfly, a very popular album. Music, a very popular pastime. I will say, I was never super big into KendrickLamar when the album dropped, of course. The only way I've heard him is through, like, the GTA, Section 80. That was probably my first introduction to KendrickLamar. And, yeah, I guess that if anyone remembers Vine when, you know, that Mad City remix was happening around the time. So yeah, I wasn't super engaged with To Pimp a Butterfly as soon as it dropped in 2015 because my ass was not listening to complex music in 2015. I didn't even know what a streaming service was back then. Okay, maybe I was just broke, but anyway, yeah. So I'm not gonna talk about experiences I had when this album dropped, when it first dropped, because there is none. There is none. However, as I've grown older and, you know, become more aware of how much music there is in the world, you know, ever since like Kendrick Lamar's first Super Bowl performance back in 2022, that's when I really dug deep into Kendrick Lamar, and that's also when he dropped Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So yes, I'm not the longest tenured Kendrick fan. I don't pride myself on being the longest tenured Kendrick fan, but I am a Kendrick fan. Everything I've heard from him has been really good, but I don't have to tell you that because a lot of people already have told you that, probably multiple times over. But I just gave you my little experience with Kendrick Lamar. If you want me to dive deep into an artist that has a very notable catalog, the best thing for them to do is drop an album in modern times. That'll give me a reason to check things more further back. Or if I just feel like it. But anyway, we're getting too complicated with this. Yes, so ever since I saw that Alright performance at the Super Bowl, yeah, that was probably one of the best things I've ever seen in Super Bowl halftime history. That was kind of glazed, but it's up there. That's my little spiel about getting deep into Kendrick and To Pimp a Butterfly. That 2022 run, that helped me a lot. That was also when I was starting to get more into this stuff. But anyway, I've rambled that on long enough. We can finally get into some genius lore. Tell me who the bitch hating on me. To Pimp a Butterfly, another classic CD. To Pimp a Butterfly is Kendrick Lamar's second major label studio album and third full-length project. It was released via Top Dog Entertainment, Aftermath Entertainment, and Interscope Records. It followed his critically acclaimed 2012 debut, Good Kid, Mad City. That was a debut, man. Jesus Christ. The album was very well received upon release, eventually earning 11 Grammy nominations, and it has gone on to be hailed as one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time. In contrast to Lamar's previous projects, tpab took more heavily from jazz, soul, and funk influences, which such contributors as Thundercat, banger, Terrence Martin, banger, Kamasi Washington, banger, and Flying Lotus, banger, I think. Snoop Dogg and a post-human. Oh, well, that's a little spoiler. The album's concept explores themes of self-love and hate, fame, depression, violence, race, and politics through a spoken word poem that interweaves between songs, leading up to the climax. Yeah, okay. You know what? We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there before we... I don't expect people to come in here listening to this album for the first time. This is mainly for people who have already listened to the album and want to, I guess, start some sort of conversation about the songs. If you want to get this on first listen, I suggest you just listen to it yourself. Unless you just want a taste of what the album is. That's why it's all like the way it is. But yeah, okay. I'm talking too much. So yes. Disclaimer, I know we did Drake last week, so I'm gonna give this disclaimer now. I will not be talking too much about the Drake-Kendrick Lamar beef that has went and gone, and, you know, just simmering in the background from here on out until the end of time. Because, yeah, I don't know what would be super relevant to this album right now. I mean, there is gonna be a line in King Kunta that would possibly bring that up, so I'm gonna try to limit myself to mention anything Drake-Kendrick beef related. Yeah, so don't expect too many Drake mentions during this reaction. I did not need to bring up Kendrick on a good album, just like how I don't need to bring up Drake on another good album. Some would say both of them are great, some would even say both of them are perfect. I will leave that up to you. I do think both are great, but yes, I will limit my mentions unless brought up otherwise. What else do I need to say? Oh yes, also, I guess since we're here, anyone remember last year when when J. Cole dropped a Might Delete Later and then apparently called this album boring. Oh man, that was a funny time, huh? That was a funny time. You'll see, this album is far from that. But luckily, he backtracked and apologized for that, because my god, standing your ground on saying that this album was boring is one hell of a hill to die on, and it's not the best. Okay, I think I've gotten my spiel out of the way. I do not want to be talking for half an hour about this album, even though I could, even though a lot of people could. I want to get into the music already, and I'm sure you do too. As you can see, the cover is Kendrick Lamar and a bunch of people over a dead judge in front of the White House. That picture goes so hard, man. To Pimp a Butterfly. Kendrick Lamar, March 16th, 2015, so it's already 10 years old, over 10 years old. 16 songs, an hour, 18 minutes. Track number 1, Wesley's Theory. Let's do this! I can't say this beginning though. Every is a star. Is a star. Hit me! Four corners of this cocoon collide. Gather your wind, take a deep look inside. To pimp a butterfly. First I did love you, but now just wanna fuck. Tossed and turned, lesson learned. You was my first girlfriend. Bridges burn, but what for? When I get signed, homie, I'm acting fool. Hit the dance floor, show up lights in the room, cutting out foes, choke the hood up 2 times soon. On wedding ring, married to the game, been a bad bitch yours. When I get signed, homie, I'm passing on the block. What's good? Get socked out, educated by a $1 million check like that. Wish you never gave. Everybody get out! At first I did love you. Fuck, thinking of you. I mean, this fucking bass, this instrumentation.
Yo, what's up? It's Dre.
What's good, Dre? Anybody can get it. The hard part is keeping it, motherfucker. Motherfucker, you can live at the mall. I know you're kind. Hit me later. Wear those gaiters. Cliche and say fuck your hater. Little white lies, but it's no white collar, and you feel better, baby. Your horoscope is a Gemini, 2 sides. I'll Wesley snipe you after 4:35. When you're on top, euphoria. Look both ways before you cross my mind. Taxman coming! Taxman coming! Okay, obviously it's going to transition into for free, but let's check some Genius lore. It'd be wrong to not look deeper into the song. It's the first track, it's one of the most active tracks on the album. It gets you moving, it gets you thinking, Oh god, the Thundercats bass, that's always such a huge highlight for me. We should never give. Wesley's Theory establishes the album's theme by describing how racist American institutions upheld by white supremacy exploit black creators for profit. The first verse pictures a young Kendrick deluded by money, whilst the second is the perspective of Uncle Sam, a personification of the US government and white America, trying to charm him. The song's title may be a nod to Wesley Snipes, the actor who was embroiled in a tax fraud case throughout the 2000s and served a 3-year jail sentence from 2010 to 2013. The US government stated Snipes was using tax protester theory in an attempt to get out of his charges. What is meant by leaving miracles metaphysically in a state of euphoria? Briefly, Kendrick brought his survival of Compton to the present to explain to everyone where he came from. He had to change or omit certain things to allow his listeners to feel such a state of euphoria, something that at the time Kendrick would not have felt. The album opens with a sampled excerpt of Jamaican singer Boris Gardiner, Every is a Star, the title track for the 1974 soundtrack of a film bearing the same name, intended to change the perception of the word in Jamaica and encourage black pride during the 1970s. It bears similarities to what Kendrick attempts to do for his listeners later on the record with I, which we will listen to later on. In an April 2015 interview with Mass Appeal magazine, Kendrick was asked why he chose to open with this interpolation. It represents how I felt when I first got signed. That's the first initial state. You get money. You feel like this. But overall, in general, it represents those without money of my color that's rich in spirit. You don't need dollars to feel like you have a place in the world. This sample draws an immediate parallel to the caterpillar butterfly metaphor throughout the album. How the lowliest caterpillar can become a beautiful butterfly. It is possible for a black person to succeed, despite all the institutionalized racism that works against them. Okay, that was a lot to take in just from the fucking intro. See what I mean? How I'm not gonna say this is the most complex thing. You need multiple scholars or philosophers to decode every single thing. No, it's not. It really just depends on your. I feel like a lot of this can depend on your background as well as your upbringing, because all this really is just Kendrick reflecting on his life, especially in this snapshot. It really is just Kendrick seeing his life where it is and what's come of it. That's like the most simplest theme you can take from it. Of course, you don't always have to relate to what Kendrick's saying, but you know, at least try, I guess, empathy. I don't know. And you know, how many conversations of institutionalized racism have you heard throughout America, throughout the years? You can even go back 5 years, and there was a lot of conversation about that. I'm not saying just because I can't fully relate to Kendrick Lamar does not mean that this song isn't good. There are multiple other things you can talk about that makes this song good. You can talk about the production, the way Kendrick raps, even if you don't understand the lyrics, how it's the first fucking track on the album, and there's so much to unpack here. But that just contradicts what I just said. Anyway, the apocalyptic imagery also recalls the numerous earthquakes that are predicted to take place during the eschatological tribulation period, or the second coming of Jesus Christ. This is further established in the last song on the track list, Mortal Man, when you know who says, yeah, okay. Kendrick metaphorically refers to the rap game as his first girlfriend, and acknowledging how the relationship quickly transformed from love to lust. This coincides with the album's overall theme of artists being used or enticed by the industry. Kendrick would later use the tables turn, lesson learned line on his March 2017 single, The Heart Part 4. Tables turn, lesson learned, my best luck, you jump sides on me, now you're about to meet Westbrook. Okay. It should be noted that these lines describe the scene of the album cover. An unconscious, possibly Republican, gavel-holding judge stalked out at the Compton swap meet in front of the White House. Less than a year after making this boast, Kendrick would find himself invited for a one-on-one with Obama in the Oval Office, in which they spoke about Kendrick's work with children, racial issues, and just maybe the president's favorite song of the year. Kendrick is definitely wearing a chain in their meeting, but it appears to be a bit more modest than the broader style of the classic Cuban link. Imagine if he came in there with a Cuban link. That would have been hard. Shows how Kendrick is deeply troubled by the fact that in today's school system, kids are taught about many things which they will never need in life, but not about important, practical life lessons such as handling money and paying taxes. This plays into the song and the album as a whole, as Wesley Snipes is the example given in this song of someone who wasn't educated on what they could and could not do with taxes and suffered the consequences. How many times did you hear about a lot of people talking about, yeah, so why are we teaching this in school and not how to, you know, properly finance and do taxes? Which I agree, we probably should be teaching people how to file taxes or how to at least finance their money better. But I mean, there are some things in school that should be taught still. It's not like we should only be teaching everything about finances. Obviously not. That would be stupid. But there's a reason for both of them existing. It's just that we need to do a lot more about the financial literacy part, because holy moly. Fame and fortune may seem easy enough to obtain, but not becoming a pimped butterfly like so many others is harder than making it in the first place. Kendrick spoke about this conversation with Dre as early as 2013. In an interview with XXL, Kendrick says, I think my second studio session with Dre, we were at the house recording. This is one of his places. And I said, man, this shit is crazy here. I can't wait to get one of these. He said, oh, that's the easy part. You could get it. Matter of fact, you probably can get it within the next year. The hardest thing is keeping it. Keeping it. Countless artists get their huge breakout song. And then what? Sometimes a fault of their own, sometimes it's just really bad timing and unfortunate luck. But they either teeter off, fall off, and what's next? You're what? Broke? Desperate for money? Fall off? Crypto grifting? You know, all of that stuff. It's just really unfortunate. Which also brings into another topic of financial literacy and other stuff that Kendrick dabbles in on this track alone, but we are getting a little too ahead about this. Like I said, I'm not here to dive into everything about this song. I feel like I've already dove in too much about this song, and there's still way more that you can look into. That's the beauty of this album. Of course, you can say it's a little bit too much, but that's what re-listens are for. I'm just here to go through it once and hopefully we can see what's up. Okay, I've done enough talking about this song. Really great song, really great opener, one of the best opening tracks I've ever heard. And we will move on. Next track, For Free, Interlude. Fuck you, motherfucker! You ain't shit! I need that Brazilian wavy 28-inch. You play!
You's a off-brand ass nigga.
Off-brand.
Everybody know it was on a good pitch.
This dick ain't free. You looking at me, you looking at me. You got it, Kendrick. This dick ain't free. Shout out to Spam. this fucking jazz. This dick ain't free. Pity the fool that made it pretty and you prosper. Titty juice and pussy shall help. This dick ain't free. Matter of fact, they need interest. Fuck forgiveness. Fuck your feelings. Fuck your sources. All distortion is fuck. You can look into this song more. There's a lot to dig into here, but we're gonna move on because you ain't no king. Next track, I got a bone to pick. Don't again. Hey man. I thought it was hey man. That would have been funnier. Bitch, where you and I was walking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking King Kunta. When you got the yams, what's the yams? The yam is the power that be. But a rapper with a ghostwriter. What the fuck happened? I swear I wouldn't tell. Motherfucking ball. You wanna cut the legs off of Kunta. Black man taking no losses. Oh yeah. Bill Clinton with desires. 24/7, 365 days times 2. I was contemplating getting on set.
I was gonna
Get up, rappers, but they did it to themselves. Everybody's suicidal. They don't even need my help. Life ain't shit but a fat vagina screaming at her. You okay? The funk shall be within you. King Kunta F. We want the funk! And a guitar. We want the funk! We want the funk!
We want the funk.
I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence. Alright. Here, we'll take a little break. Banger all across the board. I remember there was a time where people were dogging on this album. It was like, you can't play this shit. Imagine playing King Kunta at a party. I'm like, okay, I might not be the most expertise in parties, but like that song still gets you jumping around. It's not like it's a fucking you where you're just kind of just sitting there and just listen to it. It's one of the most active songs on this album. And it's like, out of all the songs you could have picked that would have made the party awkward, that's the song you picked. That's like just no, the fuck. Then again, it is Twitter. Kunta Kinte is the main character in the novel Roots, the Saga of an American Family by Alex Haley. Haley said that Kunta Kinte was his own great-great-great-grandfather, and the character is based on a mix of fact and fiction. Kinte refused to accept the name Toby that slave masters tried to give him, and his right foot was cut off following his attempts to escape the plantation he was enslaved on. And there's a whole video about it. You can watch that. Or here. I've been called many things growing up. In the state of just being a black man, I've been called many things. But it's taking that negativity and being proud of it and making it your own. Saying, I am a king no matter what you call me. Facts. According to the song Facts, producer Soundwave told Spin Magazine, I was like, this is it. We got it right here. Me and Kendrick. We always work very hands-on together, and this track, I just knew it. And I was waiting for his reaction as he was listening to it, thinking, yes, this is it. And he's like, it's cool, but I want it a little more nasty. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is like the most beautiful thing I've ever made. And he was like, just trust me on this. Simplify it. I ended up stripping a bunch of stuff off. I took all 10 guitars off and it just left one little bass line. And once I did that, I understood 100% exactly where he wanted to go with it. He's a genius. He really should have got credit on it, but he was being modest. As long as the art was there, he was happy. A lot of people will never hear the original, but it was like the jazziest record in the world. Ended up being one of the nastiest records in the world. Of struggle and standing up for what you believe in, no matter how many barriers you gotta break down, no matter how many escape routes you gotta run to tell the truth. That's what I think we can all relate to. Yes. Just being the most confident in things that I wrote and the ideas that I have, going back to the essence of being a true lyricist at heart. Now that's a process I want to see. I wish that track was around. If it has leaked somewhere, I don't know. But like the fact that it probably could have been one of the jazziest off the album when there's like, I don't know, Wesley's Theory for free. The vision to strip it all down and it turn into something like this, it's definitely a ballsy decision. And it just shows you, once again, it doesn't have to be the most complex song ever to be a good song. Who knows, maybe if it was the original jazzy rendition, it could possibly been too much. Who knows? Or trying too hard. Who knows? In its simplest terms, Kendrick can say it's about just trying to be confident in yourself no matter what fuck ass shit is thrown your way. That's possibly one of the most relatable things off this album. Kendrick, within the tradition of Ellison and okay, I'm sorry, I shouldn't, continues his play with the meaning of yams. They can stand for power, drugs, anger, and lust, all within the same line. Comedian Richard Pryor was well known for setting himself on fire after freebasing cocaine, while former President Bill Clinton was so overwhelmed by the yams, slang term for legs, of intern Monica Lewinsky that he cheated on his wife and lied under oath about the affair, leading to impeachment hearings, though he was never convicted or removed from office. I mean, when has an impeachment really worked nowadays? This juxtaposition illustrates that everyone from hood rats to powerful celebrities and powerful figures can be corrupted by power and addiction. Booyaka. Rey Mysterio? Anyway. Yeah. Funny how this is possibly the simplest, instrumentally wise, yet it's a moving track. It's a very moving track. Come on, you ain't jumping to shit? You ain't jumping to this shit? You're weird. Trying to be different. Alright. Oh, God. Next track. Institutionalized.
Definition of a rap image. I said I'm trapped inside the ghetto and I ain't proud to. If I was the president, I think my mom might help to get.
Here comes another beat switch. Oh well, here comes a beat switch. Jesus Christ.
About some chocolate trees, put me through colleges. I tell you my hypothesis. I'm probably just way too. Once I took you to them fucking BET Awards.
Oh, get up and wash your ass. Shit don't change until you get up and wash your ass. Once upon a time in a city so divine called West Side Compton. Hello, Snoop.
Presidential glass for gold bottle. It's a recession. Then why the fuck he ain't keep a diamond now? Kendrick know they your co-workers, but this gon' take a lot from the rich and giving it back to the poor. Well, that's me saying
shit don't change until you get up and wash your ass. Shit don't change until you get up and wash your ass. Wash your ass today. You don't want them skid marks on your underwear. Just a little fella, 5 foot something. Thank you, Snoop, for your service. We also gotta mention the features on here. Kendrick isn't really the guy to, you know, grab like the most hot, relevant features at the time. I mean, it's not like all of these guys were made at the same time. I mean, these are like West Coast legends. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and like more on the jazz niche side. I'm not here to say like all of these features are not big names. It's just that these features have a bigger purpose for the album at large rather than just, you know, oh wow, it's Kendrick and, you know, big name of 2015 on the same album or on the same song. It's like, whoa. I mean, that would be cool, but that's what other artists are for. And, you know, Kendrick will show up on features here and there, just like it's some stuff from 2016. I mean, what else is there to say? Shit don't change unless you get up and wash your ass. Wash your ass. Don't want to get crusty. While King Kunta shows Lamar at high, confidently claiming his throne atop the rap game with the influence and success he has acquired, Institutionalized is the dramatic realization that the murky past of the bad city still lurks within Lamar's psyche. Kendrick covers wealth's corrupted powers and how many people are negatively affected, almost brainwashed by the idea of getting rich. I mean, when money apparently rules the country, people get desperate. He also condemns violence and envy. Both of these are brought on by the institution of money. We're all at some level institutionalized. The poor and disenfranchised are institutionalized by prison, racism, classism, and the rich and the powerful are institutionalized by fear, dogma, and the almighty dollar. Everyone is a loser in this game. Perspective is the only answer. The word institutionalized also has connotations of insanity. those who are institutionalized are taught something is wrong with them. But perhaps it's the institution that's wrong. According to Song Facts, Anna Wise, who provides backing vocals, said to Billboard magazine, "I just kept going back and forth with him. He would fly me out and I would stay for extended periods of time. Even up to about a month after Good Kid, Mad City came out." Jesus. Snoop Dogg, who grew up in Cali himself, is describing the new leader of the West, Kendrick. Kendrick is 5'6" and is from Compton. Short Kings. Snoop's bridge sets up Kendrick's verse, which is dialogue between Kendrick and his friend. The way this album could be presented, you can see Kendrick as taking the throne of West Coast at the time. NWA, Snoop, those guys ruled the 90s. Then I'm not well versed in West Coast lore, so I can't really say what happened after that. It really just goes from the big moments of like the NWA, and then it gets like the Kendrick stuff. So that shows you the way I'm in right now. Who is the biggest out of California right now? Bigger than Kendrick. Really hard to find a rapper like that. I mean, Tyler said it himself on Chromacopia. Biggest in the city after Kenny. That's a fact now. I have to keep bringing this up, but there are gonna be times where I might not be able to break down something that involves like politics, racism, all that kind of stuff in just listening to one single song once. I'm not that guy. I'm here to at least like bring up the conversation, but I'm not that guy to like break everything down, because that's just not my expertise. I wish it was. I really wish I was an expert in politics and, you know, American politics, you know, social sciences, all that stuff. But unfortunately, right now is not where I'm at. So, of course, I can't really say what I probably want to say with such complex conversations and topics, because I'm just one stupid man who likes to listen to music, okay? Obviously, there are a bunch of sources out there for you to get more informed on it, which I probably would do. I probably should do. But yeah, this is another good way of like getting at least alert on certain topics like this, I'd say. Politics, aren't they so fun? Alright, next track. These Walls. If these walls can talk.
I remember you was conflicted.
Misusing your influence. Yeah, having this song play on the aux is a little awkward. This is an awkward intro to be listened to on the aux. But after this part though, sex. After that awkward intro, it turns into a groovy ass track. Not to say awkward in a bad sense. I get why it's there. It's just, you know, it's a little awkward when you have it on the radio, on the aux. I can feel your brain when it cries gold. No life jacket, I'm not the god of Nazareth.
But your flood color coordinated. I interrogated every nook and crappy when I'm here. These walls never go.
If these walls could talk, I can feel your brain when it cries. Gold lives. Hello, Thundercat. I hear your background vocals.
I resonate in these walls. I don't know how long not involved. I'd rather diss them.
I love it when I'm in it. Oh God, this shit sounds so good.
Accessories and stash them on the yard. Take the rep. No calling your mother to save you. Homies to say you're a reputable. Walls telling you to listen and sing about me. Retaliation. Dumb criminal got indicted same night. Now she fucking on a famous rapper.
Walls can talk.
Yeah, that basically just tells you the story right there. That basically tells you the story. Walls, sex, prison cells, murder, lust,
you was conflicted,
misusing your influence. Sometimes I did the same. Found myself screaming in a hotel room. Ah! Ready? Loving you is complicated. Loving you is complicated. Loving you is complicated.
Feel like you ain't shit. Feel like you don't feel confidence in yourself. But you ain't shit. I'm confessional. Tolerance, nothing special. What can I blame you? Front of 100,000, but never reached up. I fucking tell you, fucking fail you, fucking hate you. I hope you embrace it. I swear, loving you is complicated. Loving you is complicated.
Loving you is complicated. Housekeeping. Yo! Here comes another beat switch. Here comes one of the most emotional parts of the song.
You the reason why mama and them leaving. No, you ain't shit. You say multiple shots, corners, crying now. You was deserted. You ain't no brother. You ain't no disciple. You ain't no friend. Promised you watch him before they shot him. Well, was your ain't then he died. God himself will say you fucking failed. Wings is frequent, nigga. I know depression is resting thinking. And that time that you out the Earl, I'm fucked up. You can't stop a suicidal weakness.
Yeah, I mean, quite possibly one of the most emotional tracks on the album. One of the most self-reflective. What's the word? I don't even know. It's self-aware, but like he's really getting into the mental of himself. And yeah, that beat switch, that second part, one of the most blunt, honest, harshest I've seen Kendrick talk about himself, because this is about himself. It was like, I'm pretty sure it's mainly about his reflection on himself and like how he isn't all that's meant to be. It's one of the very lowest points of the album, artistically wise, or well, like narrative wise, because like we go from King Kunta, where he's all like, be confident in yourself, and it's like, you're a failure, you ain't no leader, you can't be king, you're fucking nothing. You are just nothing. That's just it. It's just harsh, blunt, honest self-reflection. And I know a lot of people, this might be either too much or way too much for them to be playing anywhere else besides listening on this album. And I get it, you know, it's hard to listen to a song of where Kendrick's basically in tears and drinking himself on a beat like this. I get it. It's difficult to listen to. But I know a lot of people say is that it's like, oh, why can't I can't move this shit. What is this? It's like, that's such an ignorant way to look at the song. Cause like, of course, if someone just plopped this song on itself with no context, you'd probably think, what the fuck is this? But that's such a disingenuous way to just consume the song, I feel. People who already don't like this album are gonna say this part is goofy. I couldn't disagree more. This is a very emotional, impactful part of a song. And sure, if you take it out of context, it'll look goofy. But, I mean, it's kind of difficult to make crying not goofy or not emotional as this. Of course, it might be exaggerated for the narrative, but still, I mean, it's hard to do a manly cry, if there even is such thing as a manly cry. While Kendrick can make the funky, feel-good record we will be hearing later, about self-love, in this joint recorded, he expresses the internal debate that arises between balances one, emotions, and finding the true happiness. Kendrick has admitted, even with fame, he battled depression, especially from having so many people look up to him. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Kendrick even said he made to, if you don't attack it, it will attack you. If you sit around moping, feeling sad and stagnant, it's gonna eat you alive. I had to make that record. It's a reminder, it makes me feel good. This is very likely an allusion to Tupac Shakur's poem, Love is Just Complicated. The poem, like the song, devolves into the vast complexities of love and struggling with your own emotions and desires. Both the poem and the song accomplish this without mentioning any names. So he could be talking about someone else there. With a more melancholic production than the funk influence Kendrick peers deep into the dark caverns of his heart to expose the negative thoughts that plague his mind, at point referring to himself as a fucking failure. In addition to breaking the track down with MTV in an interview with Rolling Stone, Lamar said the following about the record: all my insecurities and selfishness and letdowns. That shit is depressing as a motherfucker. But it helps though. It helps. I mean, yeah, this track is some form of therapy in a way. Anybody reading or listening who may be asking these questions of themselves, just remember, from you will eventually reach I. The gif of Gunna writing fire. In the oral history of Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick's engineer, mixed by Ali, described the recording of the song. The session for you was very uncomfortable. Who would have guessed? Lamar wrote it in the booth, the mic was on, and I could hear him walking back and forth and having these super angry vocals. Then he'd start recording with the lights off and it was super emotional. I never asked what got into him that day. On New Year's Eve 2015, TDE posted a video from the Vimeo user called KendrickLamar, God is Gangster. Vimeo, dude. This video is a 2-part music video for You and For Sale. TDE's verified Vimeo user was made specifically for this video. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, and that I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. To say that the song is shit because it makes you uncomfortable is very disingenuous, if that ever was a talking point. One of the lowest points of the album. Then next, what's next? All right. Yeah, we're kind of getting. Anyway, never mind. What am I saying? We're getting a banger next. Anyway, next track. All right. Hard times, like yeah. Bad trips, like yeah. I'm fucked up. You fucked up. God got us. We gon' be alright. Huh? Do you hear me? Do you feel me? And when I wake up, back in liberty, we boom with the bass down. Scheming, Lord no. 20 above me, I shall be telling all to come and get me, reaping everything I saw. Tell my world I know it's too late. Boys and girls, I think I'm gone. We've been hurt, been down before. And we hate po-po. Wanna kill us dead in the street for sure. My knees getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Huh? I can see the evil, I can tell them, I know it's illegal, I don't think about it, I deposit every other thing. If I got it, then you know I got it, heaven I can reach you. Rest assured, my rights, wrongs, right with God. Preacher's door, getting weak, got my blow. Huh? I keep my head up high. Prayers.
I remember you was
Wait. Fuck it. Fuck it. The song deserves a rewind, baby. Let's do this. It's my life has to fight. Yeah. Yeah. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. Huh? Right! When I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. But homicide be looking at you from the face down. Painkillers only put me in the twilight. But pretty, it's a highlight. Coming having no preliminary hearings on my record. I'm a tell the world I know it's too late. Boys and girls, I think our pride was low. Looking at the world, where do we go? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright, do you hear me? Motherfucker, you can live at the mall. I can see the evil, I can tell that I know it's illegal. Thinking of my partner, put the candy, put it on the wrinkle. Thinking in my pocket, in a profit, in the prison, that's the Chico. I don't think about it, be about it, and I can reach you. Hey, po-po, wanna kill us dead in the street for show. My knees getting weak, gun might blow. We gon' be alright, we gon' be alright. Right, do you hear me, do you feel me, we gon' be alright. I keep my head up high, too afraid of life changes. Dark nights in my prayers, I remember you was conflicted. Found myself screaming in a hotel room. I didn't want to self-destruct. The evils of Lucy was all around me, so I went running for answers. Easily one of KendrickLamar's best song ever. Of course, who cares? Who cares if it's one of his biggest songs too? Who gives a shit? The message is empowering. Kendrick's flow is off the charts. He makes you run out of breath with that one. And it's a good song to make you want to lose your breath, cause my god, the adrenaline rush you get from that song is unmatched from a lot of other tracks. And that could just be because we're listening to the album right now. Who cares? This is one of the best songs I've ever heard. And after I heard this at the Super Bowl in 2022, yeah, my whole life was changed. That's definitely Clay's, but we exaggerate on this. We exaggerate on YouTube. Alright provides a moment of hope amid To Pimp a Butterfly's battle to find higher purpose. After You, where Kendrick lays out his burdens, Alright responds by detailing how Kendrick means to escape his troubles. By trusting in God, Kendrick is able to look past his failures and have confidence that everything will be okay. We gon' be alright. On the surface, the motif is optimistic and universal, but the message is driven by specific pain and struggle. Awareness regarding the disproportionate police brutality against black people has left many wondering if the US has made any progress towards racial equality. Rather than despair, Alright assures listeners that through solidarity, we gon' be alright. The mantra was made a strong impact in the 2015 summer of protests as Black Lives Matter activists all over America chanted "We gon' be alright" to mourn the countless black people killed by police in 2015 and provide hope for a better future. Some took to Twitter suggesting Alright as a new black national anthem, similar to Lift Every Voice and Sing and We Shall Overcome. Also songs of hope emerging out of periods of despair. Kendrick performed Alright on top of a police car, further highlighting the song's purpose as a protest against police brutality. The powerful imagery and anti-police lyrics provided proved to be controversial when Fox News, who guessed, Geraldo Rivera said, "This is why I say that hip-hop has done more damage to young African Americans than racism in recent years. This is exactly the wrong message." I mean, what do you even say to that? I know what Kendrick said to that. Just look at DNA on damn. Kendrick responded, driving the conversation back to the problem of police brutality instead of allowing Rivera and others to change the topic to hip-hop by saying, "The senseless acts of killings of these young boys out there, this is reality. This is my world. This is what I talk about in my music. You can't dilute that. You can't dilute that. Me being on a cop car, that's a performance piece after these senseless acts. Hip-hop is not the problem. Hip-hop is not the problem. Our reality is the problem of the situation. This is our music. This is us expressing ourselves." To give the message context, Kendrick worked with director Colin Tilley to create an extended music video for Alright, released June 30th, 2015, a banger music video. The song can be seen as the person tired of all the crying and feeling bad for themselves, and now ready to take action and find a solution. Well, yeah, there is that other message of, solidarity, fighting racism, wondering if we've even progressed at all, but even if not, which, I mean, if you've seen how this year's turned out, there's gonna be a lot of uphill battle, I feel like. Maybe I just doom scroll a lot on Twitter for me to think that, but yeah, I don't know. It gets pretty grim. With songs like this still being relevant to this day, which is sad that it's still relevant 10 years later, it makes you feel like, have we really progressed at all? That's a whole nother conversation, I guess. But even if this song is still relevant till this day for very unfortunate circumstances, what can still stay the same is the option to persevere and try to stay in solidarity with one another. I'm not the one to be too preachy about this. I'm not a perfect man. I'm no perfect man. I don't have a perfect past. There's still some stuff you can do to progressively help your situation out, help yourself out, But of course, I know Kendrick will tell you a lot. Some of this stuff does begin with you. So, yeah, I don't know what else I need to say besides getting too preachy out there and feeling bad for the fact that it feels like we've almost gone back a couple steps 10 years later. That's just the world we live in. But without trying to sound too doomer-ish, I guess. We got a lot more album left to go, so yeah. Easily one of the best off the album, my favorite off the album. But that's not to say the rest hasn't been great so far, if you needed reassurance on that. Alright, cool. I don't know how much time I spent it on that, but we're already an hour and a half in, and we got like half more of an album to go. So let's get on with it. Next track, For Sale, Interlude. A 5-minute interlude, dude. KendrickLamar, baby. That's me after trying to rap alright. I don't know if you can tell, but my voice is kind of fucked.
My baby
Want you.
inside the service, smoking low as I
Want you.
my eyes about 4 or 5 times till I was hypnotized. You said Shireen ain't got nothing on Lucy at you. I'ma go hit the throttle with you. Give you no worries. Lucy got million stories. The Compton inside the gigantic mansion like I promised. Loop registration inside the service.
Hello, horns. We acknowledge you, Jazz. We acknowledge every instrumentation influenced on this album. Yeah, Lucy, not a good person. Not the most cleanest of people. Found myself screaming in a hotel room. I didn't want to self-destruct. The evils of Lucy was on until I came home. Next track, Momma. I need that. What? Oh, Knowledge was a producer on this? Dude, Knowledge and Anderson .Paak, no worries. They got some heaters. Good rap indeed.
Experience lacked. Once I submitted it, wrapped in plastic. Remember me a pack, but what's better than that? Brought me back home.
Fucking award. Family, baby.
I know
Dude, this album's got me fucking sweating.
I know wisdom, I know bad religion, I know good karma, loyalty, I know respect, I know those that's unreal.
John Cena reference?
He looked at me and said, Kendrick, you do know my language. I don't kill my vibe, that's right, you're famous. Yes, and that was bullshit. I know your life is full of turmoil.
This is a word.
This is a world premiere. This is a world.
And every time for the feeling I can barely describe my mind. You make me wanna jump.
Jump. Yeah, this one talks more about the going back to your roots in a sort of sense, because I mean, home is where the heart is, and I guess it keeps Kendrick grounded in a way. Now it talks about how he might have just left his old home of Compton out there, but from what I've heard, he's done a lot to give back to his community, which is very nice of him to do. I mean, it's not always a requirement, but it is a nice gesture to like give back to the place that raised him, basically. Momma tells of the personal growth and self-realization that Kendrick experienced after having persevered against the internal struggles he described as Lucy in the preceding track, For Sale. Kendrick's mention of returning home can be interpreted in many different ways at the same time. Kendrick literally returning home to Compton, recall from the outro of Good Kid Mad City's Real, that Kendrick's mama asked him to come back and tell his story to the kids in Compton. Kendrick returning to Africa, aka the motherland, he actually went to South Africa in 2014, a trip that inspired much of this album. Kendrick returning to his former pre-fame self. It's not super explicit in what Kendrick wants to portray here, but it leaves up to interpretation, and interpretation that makes sense. The motherland roots, or his self before the fame, because you know, fame can change a person. It's been mentioned on here multiple times throughout the album. Just remember where you came from to keep yourself grounded from all the fame and stuff. Of course, a lot of people will get out of there and never come back, which, you know, you do you. But yeah, I guess it just helps him remind him of who he is and identity, which is a very big thing for Kendrick. All right, next track. A track that I wish the intro was extended way more. Hood Politics, and you'll see why now.
Shanika's fault.
Only 30 seconds, dude. Only 30 seconds. We need more of that beat, dude. But what comes after is still pretty good. Boo boo.
On the dead homies. I don't give a fuck about no politics and rap, my nigga. Now if them Benjamins go cuddle up, skip the extras. Elcos, Monte Carlos, Road Kings and dressers. 14 years later, going hard like we used to on a dead. Yeah, who don't wanna squabble with me, Vadio?
Yeah, this one is way more versed in what the experiences was like back when Kendrick was before the fame.
Obama say what it do.
Uh-oh.
Little hoes you went to school with. Boo boo. This when hip hop was rapping. Motherfucker, if you did, the
Killer Mike and B Platinum. Hey, he won a couple Grammys. He won a couple Grammys.
At award shows. No acts about my bitch. No acts. Hit up, what up? I heard they opened up Pandora's box. I boxed my lamb down with Jay. He said it's funny how one verse can fuck up the game.
Misusing your influence. Sometimes I did the same. I didn't want to self-destruct. The evils of Lucy was all around me.
Or maybe how A1 my foundation was. I was entering a new one.
Yeah. God, there's just so much to dig into here. Look what I found though. In his 2012 book, Demo Crips and Republicans, No More Gangs and Government, former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura, also former professional wrestler, discusses how politicians are bought by corporate lobbyists. As a result, certain territories are now marked as a certain color, making the American electoral and legislative process an unfair dual monarchy, and as divided as gang territory. In fact, the term may have originated even earlier, with rapper Rusty California claiming he came up with it in 2007. Kendrick uses that similarity to attack the hypocrisy of some government officials. They put a negative spin on street gangs when they do the same thing on a mass level, not only dividing people, but even distributing guns and drugs. Political gangs do the same thing, only they affect each and every American. I think this country was built on gangs. I think this country still is run on gangs. Republicans, Democrats, the police department, the FBI, the CIA, those are gangs. Kendrick may also be suggesting that, like Bloods and Crips, Republicans and Democrats are not all that different from one another. Despite their endless conflict, the two parties espouse essentially the same views. Booyah. As much as a lot of people would like to lean more towards the Democrat area, that's not to say that the Democrat Party is without flaw. Sure, you might think that the Republicans are way more problematic than a Democrat, and there might be some merit to that. But to say that the Democrats are the one-all be-all answer is far from it. They're far from it. And as we've seen with the years after this, election after election, we have been shown that the Democrats know how to fuck things up. That's not to say that the Republicans are without fault. There are many sins and blood on their hands too. But I'm not going to be one completely dick riding any political party unless they are strictly for the betterment of the American people. And that is a very naive way of looking at things. It's a very idealistic way, and it's a very optimistic way of looking at it. But with the way American politics has been looking, there's a chance that might be happening, but we gotta be a little realistic here. But like I said, I'm not super versed in politics. I wish I was, and I honestly would like to. I would like to be more versed in politics. I mean, I had a whole gimmick of being the president, so why not just turn that into a guy with political knowledge? But that's not here or there, even if the album might suggest things like that. We're here for good music, which is that. Kendrick is reminding us that no matter how black Obama is, he is still a politician. He's with them when they fuck you over. TPAB seems quite sympathetic to someone in the president's position, a black man with great power and influence who cannot implement the change he wants to see because of the immovable roadblocks, physical, societal, psychological, and political, in his path. In this way, this lyric is much more complex than simply stating President Obama is also a Demo-Crip. He also appears to suggest the president is skeptical of the practices and approaches of his own party, the American government, and the very office of the president. He simply cannot help the black population of America in the way he wants, and even expected to, because so many opponents have made it impossible for him to pass anything with or make any change without distorting it to their own benefit. What It Do represents President Obama's attempt to speak to the black population as a friend and a brother, and specifically not join in to the fucking that it's going on. Unfortunately, and no one knows this better than the president himself, not even Kendrick, Obama's efforts just end up souring people even more because they see him as ineffectual, even though that is not his fault. The deep, unsettling tones Obama's Say What It Do morph into represent the resentment of the president's message because so many distort his words and see him as inefficient even though they are missing the bigger picture. Yes. Yes. So, a lot of the times, there are instances where it feels like the president just does nothing. They just sit there, do one newsworthy thing a week, and then fuck all until the next president comes and takes their place. And while that can be true, there's a lot going underneath with the branches that make it seem like the president does absolutely nothing. Because, Republicans and Democrats ideally rule the House, and there are things that the Democrats want to do that the Republicans, for some reason, don't want to do, and vice versa. So that's how we get pretty much nothing done. Because every time there has to be some sort of debate on whether this is good. We could literally pass a bill about how, I don't know, we'd say cancer is bad. Someone would bring up a bill saying that cancer is bad. Yet someone from the other side will just decide to debate it and say, no, cancer's not bad. The fuck? And then we get nowhere. It's a very ineffective process, but I get why it's there to keep balance with the powers, but I don't know. And speaking of power, it's kind of hard to say where the power and the rulebook is, considering certain someone in office is a little gung-ho with his little orders and whatnot, and the people abiding him. But we got 4 more years left, 4 more years of it. So yeah. Unfortunately, government and politics is extremely fucked. If you did, then Killer might be platinum. How fun. How fun. We got... How many tracks do we have left? 4, 5, 6. We have 6 more tracks left. And a lot left to go, so let's hurry up. How much a dollar costs? Track 11 out of 16.
It's detrimental, paralyzing my thoughts. Hopping out, feeling big as Mutombo.
Shout out Mutombo, rest in peace.
Tenfold. The liberal concept that men do. She's a homeless man with a 70-tan complexion. Ask me powder blue skies that crack open a piece of crack that he wanted. And temptation is one thing that I've defeated. I'm here to be aiming at his neck. I never understood.
Shout out the Dodgers.
Whoever opened up Exodus 14, universe different. I should distance myself. I should keep what comprehend. I smell grandpa's soul medicine reeking ill. Cause I'm in sad thrills. Your gimmick is mediocre.
Is that mentioned?
With a higher power, the choir that spoke the word, the Holy Spirit.
Tears of a clown.
Alright, I'm already recording 2 hours into this, so unfortunately we are gonna just keep going and going. We'll stop when I feel like stopping, because there's a song coming up soon. But yes, another great song, another very good Kendrick track. Next up, Complexion, a Zulu Love.
It's the midnight hour, her bright as the morning sun. Give a fuck who is, he about to mention complexion.
Complexion.
Say something that's vital and critical for survival of men. Clear eyes, let the Willie Lynch theory reverse them. It feels the same.
Genius says Kendrick details the importance of loving all people no matter how light or dark. That's funny considering before. Okay, I'll stop. But I mean, okay.
Let me talk my Stu Scott.
What's good, Rhapsody?
Keep your head up when color your skin, color your eyes. Solomon up north, 12 years a slave, 12 years of age. Being dark don't make you stupid. The frame of mind, it ain't complex. To put it in context, find ebony thing. The new James Bond gonna be black as me, black as brown hate.
And then they'll call James Bond a DEI hire. Oh, God, I love it. Hey, shout out to the Tribe Called Quest too. Zulu Nation.
I don't see Compton, I see something much worse.
Hey, another big talking point track. The Black and the Berry. Burn, baby, burn. That's all I wanna say. But this beat, this drum beat. I'm the biggest hypocrite of 2015. Once I finish this witness, we'll. This is a grimy fucking track.
I'm African, my hair is nappy, my dick is big, my nose is. You vandalize my perception, but can't take down from it. Sabotage my community, making the killing.
The sweeter the juice. The Black and the Berry. The sweeter the juice.
Telling me penitentiary would only hire me. Curse me, you love me just as much as you hate yourself. Shut up, with my people, I can tell cause it's breath where I see you. Say I like to preach with the Panthers, or tell Georgia State Marcus Garvey, or eat watermelon chicken and Kool-Aid on weekdays. When gang banging make me kill a nigga blacker than me. Hypocrite.
Yeah, I mean, that last line tells you it. While Kendrick can be empowering and try to be, you know, spreading a good message for everyone else, the masses, Kendrick can be just as bad as the people he may have detested. He's not perfect. No one is, of course. He does talk about this a lot more on, especially Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. He shows his flaws. And yeah, I guess it's just as simple as that. He's not a perfect man. He's a hypocrite. At least he's self-aware of that, but at least he's trying to make himself a better person. At least for himself. In this final couplet, KendrickLamar employs a rhetorical move akin to, and in its way even more devastating than, Common's move in the last line of I Used to Love Her, snapping an entire lyric into place with a surprise revelation of something hitherto left unspoken in Her. Common reveals the identity of the song's Her, hip-hop itself, forcing the listener to reevaluate the entire meaning and intent of the song. Here, KendrickLamar reveals the nature of enigmatic hypocrisy that the speaker has previously confessed to 3 times in the song without elaborating, that he grieved over the murder of Trayvon Martin when he himself has been responsible for the death of a young black man. Common's Her is not a woman but hip-hop itself. Lamar's eye is not only Kendrick Lamar, but his community as a whole. This revelation forces the listener to a deeper and broader understanding of the song's you, and to consider the possibility that hypocrisy is, in certain situations, a much more complicated moral position than is generally allowed. Yeah, I mean, this whole album has been partially about self-reflection and self-awareness and brutal honesty, because it's empowering as well as it is exposing, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's the word I will use. Next is Holy. We are in the last home stretch. Track number 14 out of 16. You Ain't Gotta Lie. Hold up.
Bitches coming in with the homies, but your level for realness ain't they mention your name. Ask where the hoes at, to like the feds on me. You ain't gotta lie to kick it, my nigga.
You ain't gotta lie to kick it.
my nigga.
You ain't gotta lie.
And the world don't respect you, and the culture don't accept you. So where the hoes at to impress me? Ask where the money. You sound like the feds on me.
Come on, buddy. Just be yourself.
So your boss is niggas be full gazing, bitches be full gazing on the couch and I'm out. I'll be out, really down. She loud, bitch. You ain't gotta lie.
This is one of the most chiller songs. Come on, man. Just be yourself. You don't have to lie to fit in, or try to fit in, because you'll get exposed. Sometimes I might need to apply that to myself, but that's okay. We're all learning. We all make mistakes, buddy. Just learn from them. Well, in about 10 seconds, we're gonna get another banger. One of these bangers to help end off the album. This is my God! Track 15 out of 16. Nobody but the #1 rapper in the world. I done been through a whole lot, trial, tribulation, but I know God. Well, I love myself. And when you're looking at me, tell me what do you see? I put the bullet in the back of the head of the police. One day at a time. War outside, bomb in the street, girl in the hood, lean in the model of the scheme. These days are for sky could fall down, we could cry now. Look at me, motherfucker. I smell. Come to the fucking front. Keep moving, cause everybody lack confidence. So I promise this, I love myself. And when you're looking at me, illuminated by the hand of God, boy, don't seem shy. My bare feet, walk my bare feet, by both. I don't know if I can do this part, but with an automatic one, don't. No, fuck that. I went to war last night. I can never take the lead. I can never bother weave from a negative and letting them annihilate me. Body.
Exactly, so we ain't got time to waste time, my nigga. The judge make time. You know that, the
judge make time.
Right? Royalty, king royalty. Wait, listen. Negus. America tried to make it to a house divided. Don't take it from Oprah Winfrey. Far realest niggas alive.
Yeah. Another track with a lot to take in. It was like practically 2 minutes of Kendrick just saying what he had to say, get off his chest. We've heard it been mentioned multiple times before we actually got to the song about how I is a very uplifting track. Kendrick needed that for him to get him out of that slump that he was in with like You and all the other tracks on this album that might have put him in that deeper, darker state. Yeah, it's a very empowering track. And if you may know, there are 2 versions of this. The album version and the single version. The single version is what you'll definitely know in Fortnite Festival, because that one is more musically focused. It's just a straight song from what I remember. You know, it's still the same song, but Kendrick's more calmer on that one, and there's a whole drum and bass outro which is freaking sick, I will say, especially when I first played down Fortnite Festival. Woo! All right, I should probably stop mentioning Fortnite. Anyway, there is that version, which is a good version. But I do like this album version for the album, obviously, because it fits into the whole narrative about black culture, black empowerment, and all that reflective jazz. If you like the more livelier Kendrick when he's singing that chorus, I mean, shit. That one gets you. That one gets you. But it's not as straightforward as it was on the single version. But, you know, to each their own. In an interview with Hot 97, Kendrick said that I is the best song he's ever written because he never thought he'd be in the mindset to make a positive song, having grown up around so much negativity in Compton. Oh, that's cool. The up-tempo track once again delves deep into Kendrick's personal perspective on the world. While premiering the track on LA's Power 106, Kendrick explained the song is about self-expression inspired by the lack of self-love on the streets of Compton. Though To Pimp a Butterfly revolves around spiritual turmoil, self-doubt, as well as negative temptations, the song offers redemption. The mixing and production on this version emulates a live performance as opposed to the clean production on the single. The track further explores subjects he already covered and personally explained on Genius in his song Real from Good Kid, Mad City. But what love got to do with it when you don't love yourself? I choose me, I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, it's needed. With so much stuff that Kendrick has been through, yeah, he needs a song like I. And we all need a song like I to lift yourself up and to keep yourself going. Alright, last track off the album. It is 12 minutes, buddy. So, strap in. Mortal Man. End us off strong, Kendrick. As if this whole project hasn't been strong already. Strap in. Strap in.
Hope my flow stay propelling. Let these words be your earth and moon. When shit hit the fan,
Is you still a fan?
this army make room for mistakes and depression. And won't you look to your left and right? Make sure you ask your friends. Don't foul on lifetime. What you know where the sermon is? Tell me like Nelson. Want you to hug me like Nelson. I freed you. Do you believe in me? How much you believe in her? On common ground if you promise to be the first. Keep bridge till they burn revenge on your mind when it's mentioned. You wanna love like no species. I gotta question it all. Family, friends, fans, cats, dogs, law, generation X. Will I ever be your ex? Leaders you said you needed, then left them for dead. Is it Moses? Is it Jesse? Oh, I know it's Michael Jackson. Oh, when shit hit,
Here it comes.
You still a fan? That nigga gave us
Billie Jean, you say touch those kids.
With me, nigga, let me ask this question, nigga.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence, resentment that turned into a deep depression.
So I went running for answers,
but that didn't stop survivor's guilt.
Going back and forth trying to convince myself the stripes I earned, while my loved ones was fighting the continuous war back in the city. Maybe wanna
go
back to the city and tell the homies what I learned.
Forgetting all the pain and hurt we caused each other in these streets. Other than that, now that I finally got a chance to holler at you, what you mean by that? What the ground represent?
The ground is gonna open up and swallow the evil.
Right.
Hello,
That's how
Tupac.
I see it. My world is born. The poor gonna be so poor and hungry.
The jazz fan comes in.
There might be some cannibalism. I see myself as a natural born hustler, a true hustler, and
And through your different avenues of success,
by my faith in God, by my faith in the game, all good things come to those that stay true.
Come on, Spotify, you gotta get that lyric right.
because me being one of your offsprings of the legacy you left behind,
Bloodshed, for real. I don't think America know that. I think America think we was just playing. It's gonna be
vibrations. A lot of people don't understand how important it is.
just letting our dead homies tell stories for us.
Damn. Its only job is to eat or consume everything around it. The butterfly sheds light on situations that the caterpillar never considered. What's your perspective on that? Pop.
Wow. Wow. That was a long, heartfelt journey, and what a way to end it off. Not a lot of times you get to end off with like a freaking multiple minute conversation and have it be super intriguing and interesting. Kendrick having a conversation with the deceased Tupac. Not in like the weird AI generated way, more like a, you know, taking, I don't know if he took up multiple interviews or he basically just grabbed a single interview and placed himself in place of the interviewer. I honestly don't know the specifics of how he did that, but the fact that he made it sound like a coherent conversation is insane. That takes a lot of thought behind that, considering that that's obviously not Tupac having a conversation with 2015, 2014 Kendrick Lamar. Because if that was possible, we should be a little scared. But we should be glad that Tupac is alive. But I don't think that's the world we live in, unfortunately. Inspired in part by a 2014 trip to South Africa, Mortal Man name-checks leaders from Nelson Mandela to Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Moses. At the back end of the song, Kendrick interviews the last king of hip-hop, Tupac Shakur. The two West Coast MCs discuss black culture, racism, fame, and image. Kendrick realizes he's the new voice in a long line of leaders like Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and Tupac Shakur. He understands that he has a limited time, and when speaking with Tupac, he knows that he has to reach out to the teenagers and recruit them to change the world. Hopefully the teenagers listen. The excerpts of Tupac's conversation with Kendrick were taken from a 1994 interview with the Swedish radio show P3 Soul, hosted by Mats Nileskar. Kendrick also shared his connection to Tupac in an interview with MTV, where he revealed the album was originally titled To Pimp a Caterpillar. Tupac. I've felt that pressure in Compton, looking at the responsibility I have over these kids. The world started turning into a place where so many were getting no justice. You got to step up to the plate. Mortal Man is not me saying, I can be your hero. Mortal Man is questioning, do you really believe in me to do this? Oof. In an interview with Rob Markman, Kendrick said, the answers that Pac is giving are answers for today. The world's got to hear this, and they've got to hear it on a major scale. I got that opportunity, and I give love and I give thanks to his mother for allowing me to use her son's vocals in a positive light. Kendrick criticizes the system that oppresses black youths, but also criticizes his own homies for buying into the self-destructive narrative sold to them by society. He acknowledges the potential of everyone facing hardship to rebel against the system oppressing them, like a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. To pimp a butterfly. Kendrick is criticizing moral absolutism. Absolutism? The belief that people are wholly virtuous or wholly wicked based on a certain deed or group of deeds. For example, some point out that Martin Luther King was unfaithful to his wife and therefore should not be praised as the morally correct leader that many believe him to be. Similarly, Kendrick does not want people to write off Michael Jackson as a mere child molester, even if he in fact was one. Because if the allegations that he touched those kids are true, they still don't take away from the fact that Jackson was a revolutionary artist who touched the lives of millions and influenced a generation of musicians. The line reflects a broader theme pervading the track and indeed the album as a whole, the need for forgiveness. As mortal men, all of us are in need of forgiveness. All of us are all sinners. From Kendrick to Michael Jackson to the Pope himself, rest in peace. Yet in a world full of sinners, we must find the ability to empathize, identify, and share our common flaws if we are to find peace. And as Kendrick goes on to explain in the outro, all of this begins with forgiveness. We must forget all the pain and the hurt we cause each other and embrace love over hate, love over pride, love over everything. Only then can we find it possible to forgive ourselves and others. Trying to defend child predators is not a good thing. I'm not saying Mike is one, obviously. In the case of, like, say, a child predator, you know, we've known now and since then that if you are famous and you have done something good to the public, it's really hard for people to completely let that go. You know, there's someone certainly in the artist category right now that has made very classic albums, but right now is making some of the worst decisions you could ever see from a human being. And yet there are still people who are ready to listen to his new music and are completely fine with it. And it's like, wow, I mean, I like his classic albums, but like, is there really nothing else you can listen to besides that? It's a weird thing too, because like, there is a sense of loyalty there, but like, he doesn't know you. When it comes to like the whole music industry and artists and actors, the whole entertainment industry as a whole, it's really hard to be the most virtuous person, because a lot of people in that industry are just not good people. So it just comes to a point where it's like, do you like just bite your teeth, or like do you like try to fight all those people, and like how much of an uphill battle that is? But yeah, that's a whole nother different topic about morality and virtuousness. There's also another topic about being super virtuous when you're not one yourself, and I guess that can play into Kendrick too. He is a hypocrite. I guess there is some exception with that if you are at least self-aware that you're not a perfect person, but do want the best for people and yourself and society as a whole. I'd say that is a very logical and valid way of thinking about it. But if you are be trying to be a virtuous person, yet you are a hypocrite, and you think you're not one, that's when we get to muddy waters, I guess, because that turns into a whole practice what you preach kind of thing. Basically, just try to do more good than harm. Try not to do any harm at all, but obviously, no one's perfect. Because the spirits, we ain't even really rapping. We just letting our dead homies tell stories for us. Were the last words Pac spoke to Kendrick. This explains why we don't hear Pac's perspective, because it is Pac living through Kendrick's music. Lamar has previously mentioned dreaming of Pac and recalling his words, "Keep doing what you're doing, don't let my music die." While the interpretation is open, Kendrick's sudden stop requires the listener to think about what their perspective is. Are we the butterfly, or are we the caterpillar destroying our surroundings? Similarly, Kendrick paid homage to Machiavelli on High Power from his debut album Section 80. Also, Pac has left us hanging because he literally did. He died too early, too young. He didn't fully grow as a person. He didn't finish his work. This final line of the outro also represents the young male growing up in ghettos that have a predictive life expectancy of 25 years, which includes Kendrick's street brothers Dave, Bray, Chad, and Pup, who all died before 25. Pac also died at 25. Seeing that most of modern music patrons do not purchase physical CDs anymore, most listeners will miss Tupac's response. Once the final track of an album ends on a CD player, the album restarts. In this situation, once this line ends, the CD will skip back to the first track. Wesley's theory will begin to replay. So what's Tupac's message? Every blank is a star, as repeated over and over again in the intro of Wesley's theory. KendrickLamar had masterfully placed this in to complete the album and make it whole. Don't know if that's true or not, but that's also a nice way of thinking about it, because then if you go in it back, then you can do it again, as in KendrickLamar is, I guess, living vicariously with Tupac's spirit in mind, which is kind of a nice way to think about it. Because there also is that reality thought that, you know, Tupac, you won't hear Tupac's response or perspective on it because, you know, he's gone, he's dead, and you literally couldn't get to know what he'd do later on in his life because he died very young. 25 is a young age to be dying at. And there's a very realistic, grim way to be looking at it. And I guess with that comment set, that's another way to like end it off on a lighter, stronger note, even if that might not have been Kendrick's intention. But it does just leave it up to the the listener at that point. Not only are you experiencing Kendrick's self-reflection and self-analyzation of himself and I guess his community around him, a lot of it can be put back onto the viewer or the listener. Just listening is like, wow, I'm hearing a man analyze himself to the most extreme sides of the spectrum, and it's like, wow, how much of this relates to me? How much can I apply this to myself? I know this sounds like a meme to say it, but it just really makes you think. And with that being said, we have just reached the 3-hour mark in my recording, and that was To Pimp a Butterfly. Wow. When they say this is one of the best albums ever, I'm not going to argue with that. People are gonna say what they want to say about this album. Some might call it overrated. I don't think that's the case. There's just a lot of things in here that makes you wanna think it's too deep for you to understand, so people just instantly write it off because it's not like you aren't gonna hear this in a club or anything. You aren't gonna be shaking ass to fucking You or Momma, I guess. I don't know. But it's one of the most impactful, mainstream, conscious hip-hop albums you will ever hear. And for good reason. Not only are there so much things to be talked about, lyrically wise, narrative wise, Kendrick wise, the instrumentations on these songs slap, and they're groovy. Wesley's Theory, King Kunta, These Walls, alright. Hood Politics, especially that intro track that I wish would always be on a separate track by itself, but we're never gonna get that, because Kendrick just loves teasing us. Even if you aren't gonna get or relate to the lyrics first time, second time, third time, you can feel the groove that Kendrick played out on this with the production and all of its collaborators, Thundercat, George Clinton, Isley Brothers, whatnot. There's much more than just, oh, it's a deep lyrical album. It's just a lot of great songs packed together with a layers and layers and layers of messaging that Kendrick has upon himself, upon his society, his surroundings, and partially the industry too. I wish I was there to experience what was happening as this dropped March 2015. I was too busy worried about the road to WrestleMania 31 than anything. I mean, that's what happens when you're a kid in intermediate school, just doing fuck all, hanging with your friends that just want to play video games. So it's not like I would have gotten much of it when it did drop in 2015, but I'm glad to finally see something like this and talk about it 10 years later when I'm a little bit older and slightly wiser than I was back in 2015. Still, there is a point where I'm not going to get everything. I still probably missed a bunch of stuff that maybe you or another viewer or another Kendrick fan thought I probably should have brushed upon. But hey, I've been here for 3 hours. This album is an hour long. So I think I've done enough talking to where I can get some form of conversation started. Like I said earlier, I'm not here to break down every single track, lyric, key. You can go another like 5 hours just upon the music theory about this. But I'm no expert. I'm just a mere listener like everyone else trying to make sense of this album. I was able to get a lot of it, thank you to Genius, even if sometimes Genius might not be the most reliable source. It helped me gain a lot of perspective on this album that I already did not. Politics, racism, self-reflection, hypocrisy, morality, all of these nouns, adjectives, make up basically the pillars of this album. And like, it's not to say that Kendrick is the be-all end-all of world peace, because he's just like everyone else. He's just speaking from his point of view and where his surroundings were at the time. There are multiple songs later on after this album that'll showcase that he is no god, he's not your savior, he is just a man trying to make the best of his life, himself, and possibly the world he surrounds himself in, and even the world after him. But like he said, he's just one man. It also relies on you, the viewer, to at least, I guess, empathize with him, see where he's coming from, and I guess try to get yourself to make a better change, whether that is with yourself or with others. Yeah, this is an experience. There's a reason why I'm not completely complaining about the fact that I literally recorded for 3 hours on this album, because I could honestly go for 5, but that would just take up way too much time for me. Even if I feel like I have a lot of time, I do not. Editing this is gonna be a little bit of a bitch because it's 3 whole ass hours. Okay, I just complained about the fucking thing, but a lot of this seemed to went by really fast. None of it felt like a drag. Every song felt like it had a purpose. And that's all you really want for a really great album. I could honestly say that this is a perfect album. If I still did my certified Garroott score, I'd say this would definitely fall within that 10 out of 10 category. I don't really do those anymore because I feel like it should take time before you get a score onto things like that, and a lot of people will just rag on a simple number rather than just having a actual conversation about it. It's a good way to, gauge my feeling on the album, but sometimes I feel like my numbers can get really inflated. I really just like music. Man, I really wish I was able to go to that Mr. Morale Big Steppers tour back in 22. I can't go to the freaking Kendrick SZA tour because I don't have money. And I didn't have money back then. So, yeah, when Kendrick eventually releases another album years from now, or unless next year he drops an album, who fucking knows, maybe I could go for that. But, yeah, hearing Alright live will be an experience because hopefully he'll still have that on his set list for decades to come. And yeah, we'll see how this album ends up being in 2035. Will it age well? Will it help us go into a better place as a society? Only time will tell. All I know is that this album has not aged a bit. For better, for worse. And I don't know if it will ever age poorly as time goes on. Alright, I think I've sung the praises of this album enough. I've already praised it way more than it probably needs to, since a lot of people have already praised this to the fullest extent, I feel like. But hey, when you're an album as good as this, it makes sense. But with that being said, Thank you for watching another classic retrospective re-listen in the books. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. You know the drill. Watch my other retrospective classic re-listens if you want to. Watch my non-classic re-listens if you want to. 10 years later, Kendrick is still doing this thing, and 10 years later, a lot of people still acclaim this as his best album. I know Kendrick has gone on to say that, like, Damn was his best, or is his favorite album, but I feel like favorite and best are kind of different from each other. I know they can go hand in hand, but I feel like best comes down to more like a more objectivity type of bias more than like your personal bias. But how can you be objective in music? It's just not possible. But that's what I'm feeling. Hopefully I did this album as justice as I could as a guy who obviously is far from the same guy as Kendrick Lamar. Hopefully you had fun reacting to this as much as I did re-listening to this, because man, this was a really fun experience. Like I said, I'm not even complaining about the fact that I was here for 3 hours. This definitely deserves the conversation it has, and hopefully this album lives on in eternity, because my goodness. Alright, yeah. Subscribe to my second channel where I do some tomfoolery with video games. Subscribe to the Patreon. Eventually this album will be on there with uncut cuts, because I know trying to listen to this album without cuts is a little jarring, but it will eventually be on there fully uncut and whatnot, and I hope to see you there. It is gonna cost you a little bit of money, but spare change is all I ask for. If you watched all of this, love you. Okay, in a consensual way, in a non-parasocial way. Alright, bye. Shout out to Kendrick. Shout out to everyone involved. Shout out to good music. To pimp another what? To pimp a butterfly, another classic CD.